Hey everyone, I'm Selena Hill, the Deputy Digital Editor at Black Enterprise, and I'm excited to bring you a conversation with music producer, visionary, and tech entrepreneur Isaac Hayes III about why he created Fanbase, a new subscription-based social platform that empowers creators to monetize their content and grow their audience. He also made history as the first Black man to raise $3.5 million in funding via StartEngine. So first off, welcome to the Entrepreneur Summit, Isaac. We are super happy to have you here. And I actually read that as of June, Fanbase had nearly 50,000 users and a valuation of $23.5 million. So I wanted to open this conversation by having you tell us more about Fanbase.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. So Fanbase is a social media platform that I founded that allows any user to monetize their content via subscription and a virtual currency we call love. It is a platform where you can have followers and subscribers on the same page in a community environment that allows you to decide what posts are seen by your followers. You can also like and love any post on Fanbase. So when you like something, it's free. When you love it, you give the content creator half a penny. And so everything is monetized on the platform.
Amazing, amazing. So Isaac, I know that you actually produce tracks for Little Scrappy, Redman, and the Rough Riders, to name a few. Given your background in music, when and why did you decide to create Fanbase?
So Fanbase was an idea I came up with in 2018. Actually, it was a young man that went viral on social media dancing in a Spider-Man costume in a GameStop to Aha Take on Me. And he was from Memphis, Tennessee. I was born in Memphis. I simply reached out to congratulate him from going viral. And he responded immediately in my DMs asking if I was a manager, and was really frantic about trying to find management in this viral moment he was having. I left that conversation with him thinking about the fact that he can't monetize Spider-Man, but he's a really good dancer and he should be able to monetize his dancing ability. And so we needed a platform that allowed people to have followers, but for people that wanted to support creators or other users, be able to subscribe to them for the content that they create. So it was a vision that I came up with. I built the platform from July to December, bootstrapped it myself with my own money. And then in 2019, released it and didn't tell anybody that I built the platform. And I wanted to do that simply because I could have uncorrupted data. So when I did go raise venture capital, there was a proof of concept. There was no manipulation by me using my name or anything to let people know to download the platform. And that was successful. And then 2020 hit and COVID came and all that kind of came to a halt.
Wow. And I understand that as of recent, you also launched a creator advisory board in response to the outcry amongst the Black creator community on TikTok. We all know about the strikes that they've been on. It pretty much swept the nation. Can you talk about why and why Fanbase is actually so important, especially in a time where Black creators are boycotting so many other social platforms?
I think most importantly, we have to start to live in an environment where we understand that Black people can build things for all people. And so in the world that we live in, we really don't have that understanding, especially in the tech space. So when someone like myself founds a tech startup, that is for absolutely everybody that wants to use it, no matter what your race is. It might get labeled as the Black whatever, the Black Instagram, the Black TikTok, the Black so on and so forth. And so we bring an enormous amount of culture and value to social media platforms that affect the valuation. And so platforms like TikTok are enormously valuable because of the culture that we bring, but the users on the platform are often banned, ignored, marginalized, sometimes canceled completely with their accounts deleted. And so it made me realize that we have to build a short form video editor to add to the arsenal of other verticals on the platform that we have, which is photo, video, live, long form content up to 1 hour, audio rooms like Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, and now short form video, very similar to TikTok and Reels. And so I brought 25 creators to Atlanta, Georgia to participate in a creator conference for 2 days. And we talked to them about ownership and equity in what these platforms do and the value that they bring, and actually offer them equity in the company. And we have 23 young people that are equity owners in Fanbase that are going to help launch our short form video editor. And so I thought that was extremely important. And not only do we provide a place for them to be creative and know that they won't get shadow banned, but actually owning part of the platform that they use that increases the value of the platform itself.
Right. So they own shares in your
Yes,
company,
absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Can you talk about why it was so important for you to create a platform with Black creators in particular in mind, and the Black creators that we see in the creator economy?
Well, I mean, take a look at this. Like we take our clapbacks to Twitter, we take our dances to TikTok, we take our skits to Instagram, we take our conversations to Clubhouse. These platforms are able to raise billions of dollars in valuations and rarely pass any of that money back to the creators, especially the Black creators that help make them valuable. And so if you don't own infrastructure in a place like that, then the chance that you will be appropriated or used in a way for your culture but not rewarded is high, and it happens all the time. And so with a Black-owned platform like Fanbase, the playing field is level. We want everybody to have a fair shot and a fair shake at being successful, being viral, having opportunity to monetize their content, brand deals. But in places and spaces other than Fanbase, there are thousands and thousands of creators that are expressing the fact that other people, mainly white creators, are allowed to capitalize off the culture that they create and get brand endorsement deals. And so for us, if we don't own infrastructure, that will never change. There will always be false promises, very little activity and intention on resolving the issue until there's a place where these other platforms have to recognize that there is a new player in town and that they're actually going to uplift the community and the users that make the platform valuable.
So Isaac, I read that Fanbase has seen 40% month-over-month growth in 2021, and that non-celebrity top revenue makers on the platform actually averaged $1,200 in April alone. But what's the business model that keeps Fanbase afloat?
So it's actually a rev share model. Current platforms are ad-based in nature, and that's a little old school in our opinion. If you think of a platform like Instagram, they're never going to let you see all of your followers. If you have 10 million followers on Instagram, every time you post, Instagram's not showing your content to 10 million people. If they did, who would the brands pay? Would they pay you or would they pay Instagram? They pay you. And so that goes against their business model. And so you're never going to get all of your visibility on a platform. Whereas on Fanbase, we want everybody to see your content, because the more people that see your content, those people convert to users who pay for your content. Therefore, you make money. Therefore, we make money. And so the rev share space actually is a better model moving forward, because the generations that are coming onto social media are more transactional, they're more engaged, they're more used to paying for content and comfortable for paying for content. And so that's the secret sauce to Fanbase, is full visibility and opportunity to monetize your content, where on other spaces and places that's not possible.
Yeah, that's so interesting, Isaac. I mean, we're always complaining about the algorithms. We're always complaining about being shadow banned. And basically what it sounds like you're saying is that's the intention behind these big tech social platforms, in order for them to continue to make all the money and become billion-dollar companies.
Absolutely. Some users on Instagram have 200 million followers. You think every time they go live, they send out 200 million notifications? If 1% of those people showed up, that's 2 million people that an artist like Ariana Grande can say, buy my album, buy my t-shirt, go to my concert. Same thing for Beyonce, same thing for Cardi. They're not doing that. If they did that, that goes directly against the ad model, the revenue model for the platform, which is pay us, don't pay Ariana Grande or Beyonce or Cardi B. So rev share is the future. Subscription-based content is the wave of the future. In 5 years from now, there'll be an enormous amount of people monetizing their content in spaces and places like Fanbase.
Yeah, and another thing I love about Fanbase is it's community based. You actually raised $3.5 million on StartEngine, and you became the first Black man to do so. You were also the second person to raise the most money within 24 hours. I read you raised $700,000 the first day. So why did you decide to raise money through thousands of micro donations rather than trying to attract big money investors?
Well, for one, I wouldn't call them donations. I would actually call them investments, because we have 5,100 investors in Fanbase. And honestly, it was the circumstance of COVID. As I mentioned before, when 2020 came along, my intention was to talk to venture capital and raise money that way, but nobody could move, nobody could go anywhere. And so a good friend of mine by the name of Monique Idolette at Rain Ventures suggested that I raise capital on StartEngine. And so by doing that, it was a perfect fit, because there is no other business that I know as direct as social media, where the users actually directly affect the valuation of the company. And so who better to give equity in a platform than the users themselves that make it popular? And so we were happy to raise $3.5 million and allow anybody to invest, no matter your income, at a minimum of $256 as an entry point to own shares in a tech platform. And that's unheard of because of the Jobs Act that was signed into law by Barack Obama and Joe Biden in 2012. Before that, in 1933, all the way up to 2012, it was illegal for anybody to raise capital other than accredited investors, right? And those are people that have a net worth of $1 million minus their house, or make over $200,000 a year for 2 consecutive years. But I tell anybody that invested in Fanbase before that, do you have to be accredited to go to Vegas and gamble your life savings? Or did you have to be accredited to spend, $5,000 on lottery tickets? So really, it's always been a game of the rich having access to opportunity to get richer, and not everybody. So StartEngine proved as a very, very great mechanism to break the mold and be different in saying, look, the people that make these platforms, multi-billion-dollar platforms, should also be the people that have a chance to have equity in the platform. So the users and the creators are one and the same. The word content creator is used sometimes in a specific form, but really every single user on social media is a content creator. If you post one picture or 100,000, you're making content, because they're running ads in between all of that. And so again, even with our creator advisory board and them having equity in the platform the same way, it's the users make these platforms popular. So who better to offer a chance to have equity than those individuals?
Yeah, no, I love that, Isaac. Is it still available for people to invest in the company?
So at the moment, no, we closed our seed round at $3.5 million. But I mean, in future rounds of Fanbase, I definitely want the opportunity for the general public to have access to invest in the company, because again, users make platforms. If everybody left social media tomorrow, there would be no platform. And so again, realizing your power collectively as an engine to increase the value of an investment by converging on one platform that you have equity in, rather than these platforms that you don't own anything but give all your energy away for free, is the biggest cheat code of all time, in my opinion. It's okay, said company is created, they allow us to invest, we move to that platform in mass, buy some shares, the value of the company grows up, therefore the value of our investment goes up. So it's a very simple formula with intention that will prove to be very successful. So we're going to continue to do that.
And then also, as a part of your strategy and the formula, do you have an exit strategy in place as well?
So, I mean, every company should have an exit strategy. I get asked this question a lot, like, will you sell Fanbase? And so all the investors in the platform are investing in Fanbase the same way anybody would invest in any tech startup like Uber or Instagram. And so that exit or that liquidity event for the users takes place when we either IPO or sell the company. And that's something that I have to consider at the time, because if you think about it, with having 5,100 investors, an exit of, let's say, $100 billion, which is a hypothetical, but very, very possible given the fact that, Instagram is over $200 billion in value. TikTok is a $436 billion company. Facebook has a market cap value of $900 billion. So even at $100 billion, that's a 5,000x return on the investment of others and would actually create the largest distribution of wealth to Black people in the history of this country. Because a lot of our investors are first-time investors and African-American. We have all races involved, but imagine making millionaires out of thousands and thousands of African-American people with just a stroke of a pen or a push of a button.
So Isaac, before we wrap this conversation, I wanted to ask you about the role your father, the legendary R&B musician, songwriter, producer, and entrepreneur, Isaac Hayes Jr., played in your decision to launch Fanbase.
Yeah, so my father was a career entrepreneur himself as a songwriter, producer. And one of the conversations that we used to always have is about ownership. In his career, he lost rights to a lot of his music through business deals that were negative and predatory towards him. And so I grew up with the understanding that if you don't own something, then you're really at a disadvantage of really being able to create wealth within yourself and your community and your family, generational wealth. So for me, it's always been the understanding to own my publishing as a songwriter, which I've never sold my publishing. And in creating Fanbase, again, if we are not owning infrastructures that we create, and in the Black community, we tend to invent and elevate and innovate at a speed and in a pace that sometimes we don't understand what we're doing. And I use an example of someone like Grandmaster Flash. Like the moment that he started scratching on turntables, someone should have pulled him to the side and been like, don't show nobody this. Give me like 6 months. I'm gonna go make a turntable and then you're gonna scratch on that. Because when you ask DJs what they DJ on, they DJ on Pioneer, they DJ on Techniques. So we invented an entire culture of DJing, but don't own the infrastructure. And right now we're actually creating a social media culture, but don't own the infrastructure. And so Fanbase is an infrastructure that will be owned by an African-American person. Again, I should be able to stand alongside Mark Zuckerberg, Kevin Systrom, Evan Spiegel, and Jack Dorsey, the founders of Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and myself, Snapchat and Twitter myself, and say, look, a Black man can found a social media company and stand alongside these gentlemen as well. And it's okay that Black people can build things for all people as well.
Yeah, no, that's so powerful, Isaac. And I'm glad that you talked about how your father was a victim of just predatory practices in the music industry. I read that in 1976, when he was declared, king of soul music, he had his Oscar win. We all knew him for Shaft, but he was also bankrupt. Mm-hmm. Can you just talk about how witnessing that firsthand, being on top of the industry, but still not having the revenue to show for your work? What type of impact did that have on him and on you?
I mean, it changed the lives of a lot of people, especially my other brothers and sisters in my family as well, who were much older than I was at the time, who, wanted to go into higher education for college, things of that nature, and were denied that opportunity. My father was definitely a fighter. We relocated to Atlanta. He came back, had another #1 album, made a lot of hits, even went on to be the chef of South Park. So he continued to work, but that's a life-changing situation when you lose millions and millions of dollars because of predatory practices in the music business and even in other businesses. So again, I think that alone, my own path and my own journey in the music business, seeing bad deals myself throughout, my career, really prepared me for entering into the tech space, because I know a bad deal when I see one. If someone wants to invest in Fanbase and give me $200,000 but wants 20% of my company, I'm like, no, that's not a good deal. And that wouldn't put me in a position to scale my company. So the lessons that I've learned from my father and as a music producer and songwriter myself definitely prepared me for the business side of ownership in Fanbase.
Did he have any influence on your decision to pursue music as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course. I mean, who wouldn't? But again, he was the type of individual that broke records. You can only be the first Black man to win an Academy Award for an Oscar once. So that was kind of out the window. So I tell people all the time, I don't have to be great to be my father, but I will be great because of him. And I think that, the ability for me to branch out on my own and pursue my own creative passions in different verticals and different fields is something that I was blessed to be able to do because of him and have the opportunity to do so. So without Isaac Hayes, my father, there wouldn't be a fan base. There wouldn't be an idea or the possibility to dream that you could build something like this without somebody like that in your life to see as an example of what you can do and what is possible.
Yeah. No, that's so powerful. And just to take it back to Fanbase, where do you see your company in the immediate future, especially come 2022?
Oh man, well, scaling very fast as we are, making some amazing hires and some key personnel that are on board. I want to be disruptive. I think there's an opportunity to be super disruptive. You got to understand, you're democratizing access to distribution to every single user on the planet that has the ability to post content. And remember, Fanbase has long form content up to 1 hour. So I'm virtually turning everybody into their own Netflix. I'm turning everybody that has long form content. If you have a podcast, a short film, a movie, a TV show, a docuseries, you yourself can create that content and share it in a community environment. And now you're your own Netflix. And so once you have subscribers, it's limitless, especially in a global economy across, multiple continents and countries, that you yourself could turn into your own media empire and media powerhouse in a community environment like Fanbase. So there's a lot in store. Trust me, that the vision is broad and it's very disruptive. I'm looking forward to that.
We're looking forward to it as well. Isaac, if you can just let us all know how we can download Fanbase and how we can become a part of the community.
So you can find Fanbase on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store worldwide for download anywhere. But one thing that we launched just recently was the ability for people who are on Instagram to actually migrate their content over to Fanbase with a tool that we've built. So you really go inside Fanbase and say import from Instagram and copy a link to your Instagram profile, add your username on Fanbase and click continue. And then your content starts to migrate over to the platform. Because in joining a new platform, the two hardest things in doing so is starting your content all over again, having to post all over again, and then two, moving your audience. But I say one makes two a lot easier. So if I opened up a new restaurant on the other side of town and say, start going to that one, but you show up and the only thing there is water and straws, you're going to go back to the old restaurant. But if you get there, the new restaurant is there. It has everything that the old restaurant has and more. You're going to stay, because taking your content from a platform like Instagram and putting it on a platform like Fanbase, you've instantly put all of your content in a space, in a place where it can earn revenue and be monetized from the moment it's posted. And that's the big difference. So, you can find Fanbase, like I said, on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, and just, make a move. Try different apps, date apps. You have to date different apps. You can't stay loyal to platforms that don't return, the opportunity to scale and succeed. You have to date apps, and Fanbase is definitely a place that people will come and emerge and become extremely successful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again so much, Isaac. We appreciate it hearing from you here at the Entrepreneur Summit, and we will continue to follow the journey that you and Fanbase are on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.